the last few years, Scott Jorgensen has become one of the biggest names in the UFC. But not so long ago, he was just another face in the wrestling rooms at Eagle High School and at Boise State. Scott's passions have taken him from Utah to Alaska, from the mat to the cage, but all the while, his heart has stayed here in Boise.
The moment they stage us to walk out, I hear my walkout music start. When the moon shines, I come alive. I can hear that stadium erupting. It's like nowhere you'd rather be.
Born in Payson, Utah, Scott Jorgensen began his wrestling career when he was just 5 years old. At the age of 14, his father, a gold miner, moved his family north. Way north.
I hated Alaska.
Scott spent every summer wrestling in tournaments in the lower 48. He won a state title in Alaska, but the programs in the last frontier don't get much exposure.
My coach in Alaska knew the coach at Eagle High. My parents like, do you want to move? And I was like, yeah.
So his parents made a sacrifice for their son, moving to Idaho so Scott could have a chance to wrestle collegiately. The plan worked. Jorgensen was offered scholarships at Nebraska, the U.S. Naval Academy, and Boise State, where he chose to continue his career.
I felt comfortable with the program. I had teammates from high school there, from Alaska, that were wrestling at Boise State. And, you know, if it wasn't for my time at Boise State and the help I've received from the guys there, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
Scott was dominant in the 133-pound class, winning 3 Pac-10 championships. But in the NCAA tournament, his dreams were left on the mat.
I was heartbroken not getting that All-American status. As a child growing up, that was my goal.
After his senior year, Jorgensen was considering giving up the sport entirely.
Wrestling became so stressful because for years, that's all I did.
But an encounter with a friend forever altered his career path. Uriah Faber, who wrestled against the Broncos at UC Davis, had just begun his foray into mixed martial arts.
He'd been fighting, and I knew he was doing well, and he had T-shirts and all this kind of cool stuff, and stuff that interested me. And I was like, I want my own T-shirt, and dude, I love that sport. And he starts talking to me, and he's like, you should try it. You know, it'd be fun, you'd be good, your wrestling would do well for you. And I was like.
Jorgensen began booking professional bouts, competing in small venues against guys 20 pounds heavier and far more experienced. He remembers what went through his head in the locker room before his first fight.
There was a moment, like I had a minute, and I was sitting there and I'm going, man, I just literally signed up to get punched in the face. Like, I full-heartedly, like, committed to this now. Like, I can't leave. I can't not show up. I'm in the locker room. Like, we're doing this.
Fighting out of Boise, Idaho, Scott Jorgensen!
It was bye-bye day job and let's just fight.
Scotty brings him up and down. Nicely done.
You can turn the wrist and stand up.
21 bouts into his professional career, and Scott continues to fight out of Boise. He's put down roots in the Treasure Valley, opening an 8,000-square-foot gym downtown and making a similar sacrifice for his son as Scott's father did for him.
He's why I live here. You know, it's a great place to raise a family. You know, like I can go to Vegas, I can go to Brazil and be stopped in the streets. I come here, it's like home. We love Boise.
His son is just 7 years old, but is already following in his dad's footsteps. Brayton is a wrestler too.
It's motivating for me because whatever he does, he's learned how to work hard. He wants to be a scientist and study spiders or create superhero gadgets, and then he wants to be a UFC fighter. This is cool. The kid's amazing.
Scott came to Idaho 12 years ago to wrestle a future for himself. Now he's staying in Idaho to fight for the future of his son. Jorgensen's most recent bout was in the Ultimate Fighter 17 finale just last month when he lost by submission to Uriah Faber, the same guy that got Scott into mixed martial arts in the first place 7 years ago.
A little bit of irony.
I guess he owed him one.
What a nice guy.
Nice guy, in a nice gym downtown there too. He said when he came to Boise, there was no place like that for mixed martial artists to be able to train. And so they started in Garden City, and then they built that 8,000-square-foot facility downtown and said, this is now the place to be.
And he's got his own T-shirt, I assume?
And he's got plenty of his own T-shirts.
There you go. Thanks.